Grabar, listo. Ok. Pues buenas tardes a quienes estén en Ciudad de México. Buenas noches para quienes nos acompañan ya en otras partes de Latinoamérica, que ya es más tardecito por allá. Me da mucho gusto que estén con nosotros en este webinar donde tenemos a un invitado especial. Ahorita, bueno, estoy hablando en español, pero nuestro invitado no habla español. A menos que sí, Burke. I don't know if you speak Spanish a little bit or not, but I'm just saying that we're gonna do the webinar in English.
Yeah, if possible, if possible. Hi
Of
everyone.
course.
My name is Bert. Gonna talk about medical education in Europe and partially Eurasia, which we mean by Turkey and Georgia, Cyprus are currently under our radar. But mainly we're gonna talk about European medical schools, their opportunities, their prices, requirements, tests, and all kinds of details. Please just stop me right away. Like we have a certain group of people here, so it's easy just to stop me and like ask either in Spanish, Alejandra can translate, and or English if you have any questions at all.
Sure. Yes. If you have any questions, you can also write them in the chat, and we
Yeah.
can go through them as well at the end. So
Yeah.
if you don't mind people asking in the meantime, that's okay.
Yeah,
If not, we can do
that's
it last.
definitely what I'm looking for. Let's make it interactive. So I want to start with the Eurozone
Great.
medical schools in general. So when you look at the European countries, there are some countries who are not really offering any option in English. For example, like Netherlands or Denmark, the Nordic countries, the most of the Southern European countries such as Spain. You cannot really find lots of programs teaching in English, and there's not much framework built for international students to join those courses, medical or dentistry or pharmacy or physiotherapy sort of courses. But there are also some countries who are offering complete English language education, like for 6 years, single cycle, and looking for international schools, international students, basically, international students to come and study in their countries. And they offer diploma equivalency, which means that you can use your diploma in the whole European region after your graduation, or you can use it in North America by simply taking US medical license exams. They are much more affordable when you compare them to US, Canada, Ireland, or even Australia. You look at the European or Eurasia universities with prices around like 12,000 to 24,000 euros per year, while you're looking at US around like $90,000 a year. So there's a huge price difference when you look at the offerings that we will talk about in Europe versus US or versus Canada. Usually the living expenses are also much cheaper as well. I live in Toronto, and basically in Toronto, the annual expenses for a student is currently higher than $25,000 per year. But when you look at Europe, most of the European countries that we're going to discuss, the student expenses are almost the half versus Canada. So you can definitely also take it as a note, because it's pretty much affects your full plan of education. Usually there's a health report requirement. Your vaccination records, like HIV vaccination and stuff like that. There are some vaccinations required. A grade 12 diploma entrance exams usually include chemistry, biology, and in some universities you'll also take a physics and maths exams as well. Or you can simply take a preparation course. It's not you don't have to pass these exams at the very beginning after high school graduation. Basically, you can also take these entrance examinations. There is a certain education language issue. Most of the times, students choose to study in English language. But if you want to learn Italian, if you want to learn Czech language, your education becomes even cheaper. Like if you learn Italian for 1 year, the following years gets down to almost like 2,000 euros a year. Same goes for countries like France, countries like Czech Republic. There is a framework where you can also prepare, but don't forget, you should study in universities who are actually looking for international students and international doctors. If you are not going to a university like that, you will have a hard time passing your courses because the concentration is not training international doctors, which comes with many problems when it is the case. So I always warn about universities like that when you compare these alternatives. So I want to start with Italy. We work with University of Rome campus Biomedico, and basically they have a 6 years medicine degree stream. It's an American accredited, US accredited university, which means that most of their professors and most of their training systems are targeted to US medical license examinations. So if you have never heard about this exam, if you want to become a surgeon in the United States or Canada, you have to pass US medical license exam according to the subject that you want to practice. So if you want to become a heart surgeon, or if you want to become a brain surgeon, there are different tests, different focus tests that you need to pass, and you need to achieve a certain grade of performance on US medical license exam. And usually this performance should surpass 80 to 90% of all the questions. So it's not easy to pass that. Basically, this university prepares you perfectly for USMLE, and they are looking for students who would like to prepare to become doctors in US and Canada, studying 6 years in Italy, in beautiful Roma. So it is pretty much a nice opportunity when you look at the price, like it's around 18,000 euros a year. They have a pre-medical foundation. You can choose either Italian or English, it's up to you. There's two options available. Basically, there's an entrance test, usually an online test, that we also have some preparatory services as well. Or, as I told you, you can go to a prep degree for 1 year and it's completely in English or Italian. You can choose it. So when you look at Spain, we have a dentistry and sports physiotherapy school, which is based in Murcia. So this university has two campuses, one in Murcia, the other is in Cartagena. You can study either in Spanish language or English language. It's completely up to you. There's a 5-year cycle of a dentistry program. So this 5-year cycle gives you an EU accredited dentistry degree, where you can practice in Spain, in other European countries, or you can move to even move back to your country because they have equivalency accreditations from all places like Latin America, Middle East, Africa, all the places usually provide an accreditation for the degree. The good thing about UCAM, there's not much of a test. Like the entrance is not really as complicated as the Italian option. UCAM usually has an interview session with you, and to see what kind of biology, chemistry, and maths background you have. As long as you have grade 12 diploma, over like 70% of success rate, and if you have a good interview with the university, you can directly get into a dentistry program. You don't have to worry about like tough entrance exams like we will talk about in Czech Republic, in Hungary, and just we talked about in Italy. You don't have this kind of a hardship while going to this university. Another alternative is Hungary, which is amazing in Central Europe. It's a very affordable alternative to live. Szeged University has one of the top rankings in QS World Rankings. University of Szeged is ranked for pharmacies around 300 across the world. For medicine and dentistry, they are one of the top 500 universities in the world. Their tuition fee is around like 16,000 euros. It's just 2 hours to Budapest, like, south of Budapest, and it's a very peaceful town where you can easily speak English, by the way, because like 60% of the town, Szeged, is either professors or students. So it's like you bump into your friends, you bump into university students, professors while walking on the street. And it's very cheap, very affordable, like 200 euros, 250 euros is usually the dormitory prices per month, and around like 200 euros you spend for your like general living expenses, food, even transportation. You don't use it, like basically you will use a bike. The city is very well organized. There's a story about the city. There was a major flood on 19th century, And after this flood, the city was rebuilt, and everything is planned in a very modernized way. So you can like go to one side of the city from the other side with a bike in like 40-45 minutes. That's how well they are planned. And there's lots of nature, lots of festivals, good weather, like always sunny. It's a really beautiful place to study, very, very affordable place to study, good investment. Like you will spend like maybe 100,000 euros at the end of your 6 years, but you'll get a medicine diploma that is accredited in the whole Europe, and you'll have a very, very affordable living and peaceful living in this option. There are clinical rotations. This university has a really good advantage in terms of clinical rotations. So they have agreements with German universities. They have agreements with other Hungarian universities, Czech universities for you to practice after your graduation. And usually the courses cost around like 16,000 euros, while nursing courses like cheap, like half the price if you want to do nursing for 4 years. And all the exams are entrance exams are online, so there's not much to worry about the entrance exams. We also have some prep materials and also pre-medical course available for students who'd like to practice before starting the medical degree. So I'll speak about Czech Republic. It's gonna be tougher. I think, Alejandra, we have some questions, or no?
Yes, we did, but
Yeah,
I answered. Yes, regarding
I answered that.
the language instruction.
Perfect. So I'll go for Czech Republic. So Czech Republic is actually the most prestigious option that we will be talking about today. The reason for that is Czechs are very well advanced in terms of health systems and engineering in general. Another case for Latin American students, if you want to do your clinical rotation in Canada or in US, this is the best option that you can choose for 2 reasons. One of them is their 2023 US medical license exam success rate is 95%. So like every 100 students who took the USMLE exam, who is a Charles University graduate, 95 of them passed the exam. And I always give an example of Harvard because they passed Harvard last year. This rate was 92% for Harvard University, and it was 95% for Charles students. So Charles University was actually more successful in terms of USMLE progression than Harvard University. When you look at the expenses, when you look at their rankings, it's an amazing alternative to buy. But there are also hardships about Czech Republic that all of you guys should be aware of. So Charles University is the best medical university across all Europe, one of the best universities across Europe. I think they only have some competitors in Italy and some competitors in Sweden. So there's not much competition Charles University has in terms of its academic performance for medical universities, medical faculties. And Palaski University is only at 1.5 hours away from Prague, which is much cheaper and easier to get in, as you can imagine. I mean, by much cheaper, approximate prices of Charles University is around 20,000 euros, while Palaski charges around only 12,000 euros. Approximate price to get only the exam of Charles University and the materials is around 600-700 euros, while it's only 250 euros for Palaski. So it's much cheaper. Like if you're looking for a cheaper alternative, if you're looking for a cheaper place to live, of course, like in terms of living expenses, and not be in the metropole like Prague, but a little far away from Prague, Pulaski is a better option. But when you look at the academic excellence, if you want to take the level of your diploma to the next level, then you should definitely consider Charles. Charles University has 6 years medicine degree, 5 years dentistry, pharmacy degrees, and 4 years nursing degrees, all in English. Their entrance exams are sometimes some faculties are online, and there are also some faculties, such as the most prestigious first and second faculty, organizing their exams in local places. Like you have to go and sit the exam, meet with the professors face to face, and take the exam physically. These examinations currently are taking place in Canada. We have an exam in Canada on 10th of June this year. We are organizing. This year, we have made an agreement between University of Ottawa and Charles University. So which means if you go and study at Charles University and graduate from Charles University successfully, then you can proceed to University of Ottawa for your clinical rotations from your 5th year. So it means that you will finish in University of Ottawa, and after that, you will take a US medical license exam after finishing from University of Ottawa. So it is one of the most prestigious universities, the capital university of Canada. It works with the best hospitals in Canada. So without even going to Canada, you can actually become a doctor in Canada if you graduate from Charles University. So I think these are all the factors that you should be considering, but definitely the exams, the entrance requirements are tougher, are more, requires more effort if you want to do Czech Republic instead of the other certain alternatives. Yeah. So last but not least, I want to talk about the Eurasia alternative rather than Europe. So there's Turkey with the new name. The old name is Turkey. Now Turkey uses Turkey, and Cyprus as an island country, which is just in between the borders of Turkey and Greece. Okay, so just in between, there's an island called Cyprus. So these universities are quite successful in terms of their facilities and in terms of their internship opportunities. So if you study medicine or dentistry in one of the universities listed in Istanbul or Cyprus, then after your graduation, it's quite easy for you to, start your internship in one of the top level hospitals in Turkey, because Turkey is one of the best countries in terms of the health infrastructure. So I think maybe you have even heard how successful Turkey is in terms of aesthetic operations, like, hair transplant and like other stuff like, dentistry services and stuff. People fly from US and Canada to Turkey to get these services because these are much more reachable and much more affordable in Turkey. And now it's #1 in the world in terms of these health services to international guests. That's mainly because the facilities are so strong. Like the hospitals look like 5-star hotels. You wouldn't believe. Like if you go to Medipol or if you go to live hospitals, it's like 10-floor, 20-floor hospitals, complete luxury. I mean, like you stay in like a 5-star hotel room while you're being treated. So it's pretty like successful in terms of facilities and service performance and the quality of doctors as well. And the good thing that I want you to consider while considering like Europe versus Turkey, Turkey is looking for Latin American students, guys. Like basically, Turkey is not giving any scholarships to Africans. Turkey is not giving any scholarships to Asian students anymore. But they are willing to give scholarships up to 60-70% to Latin American students, just to attract the Latin American students to come to Turkey from countries like Mexico, Colombia, Brazil. They are looking for international doctors to perform in Turkey. That's why, like, even though it's like $32,000 now, it's becoming much more expensive than usual. Turkey is becoming actually cheaper for Latin American students because they are looking for such students. So just take it as an important detail. And I think we just recently added Kafkas University from Georgia, which is a European Union candidate right now. They also have a price between $20,000 to $25,000. And if you ask my opinion, in 2 years' time, Georgia will be EU country. And I think it's an opportunity right now to find Georgia like a very affordable and peaceful place to consider because it's becoming more and more EU integrated. Much more than Turkey. I can tell you that Turkey will not be a part of EU ever. That means that your diploma and your visa will not be directly accredited in European zone. But in Georgia, the story is different. So now we're also adding Georgia. I can tell you this. if you want to work in Turkey and Cyprus, maybe stay there for some time and, perform in the hospitals and maybe, start your life there. It might be a good option for you. But if you want to stay and roam in the European countries, going to a European university or maybe Georgia would be a better alternative than going to Turkey and Cyprus. Because as I always say, as a Turkish citizen, like, a Turkish and Canada person, like, traveling in between all the time, I can definitely tell you that Turkey will never be a part of EU. So general requirements. First of all, apply as early as possible. You're applying to a medicine school, guys. It's serious. I mean, like, it's not like applying to a business school. I'm sorry for any business candidate. It's not like applying to an art school. You're applying to a medicine school. This is the toughest education in the world. So you have to start preparing from like 6 months, 8 months before your education, in terms of exam prep, in terms of your health reports, like health certificate, vaccination reports, getting more idea about the examinations, getting more idea about the university, getting your language level to at least IELTS 7.0 level. I mean, you should be careful about yourself because if you don't work hard before you go there, then you will probably fail in the first 1 or 2 years. Unfortunately, it's the fact. So that's why, first of all, definitely focus on starting early. And then you'll get a TOEFL or IELTS according to your target. You can study for SAT or ACT if you're looking for Turkey because it brings you scholarships, as I mentioned before. Resume, CV for your general profile. You have to write a statement letter. Reference letters are mostly optional, but if you want, you can definitely bring one. Health certificate and vaccination reports. Usually we give you a sample report and usually you make use of it and create your reports. Photo and passport. And most importantly, high school transcript and diploma. There is one more note you should take. If you are considering to study in Czech Republic or Italy, these 2 countries, if you want to study in one of these countries, your final diploma must be ready for my use until 30th of June. Not one day more late. Like it's unacceptable. Unfortunately, you will say, like, why are you strict like this? It's not me. Basically, it's the general system. There's a system called nostrification in Czech Republic, and there's a system called pre-enrollment in Italy. So these processes usually take 4 to 6 weeks. Imagine yourself entering this process like 1st of July, then you will get your accreditation documents back around like 15th of August. Your studies start mid-September to 1st of October. So you have only 4 weeks left to get your visa. And it's hardly realistic. So basically, you have to think or ask your school if you're able to provide your diploma by 30th of June. Otherwise, you shouldn't go into this. Basically, you should choose Hungary, Spain, Italy, Turkey, I don't know, like Georgia, some other alternative. But for Czech Republic and Italy, I have to get your final documents, ideally by 15th of June, but latest by 30th of June. Otherwise, it would be probably late. Yeah, I was talking about the application timeline and expenses. So basically, this is the expense of applying to the universities, of medical universities. Usually, the Czech Republic is like 500 to 600 euros per exam and application because there's online materials, certain exam fees and application fees altogether. Hungary is also quite expensive. I can go like up to 500 euros per university. The only difference is Czech Republic allows you to apply until 30th of April, which is done for this year. Hungary allows you to apply for until 30th of June. And the earliest deadline we have is Italy, unfortunately, guys. They close their applications in February, but if they have any places left, they open another round of application in June. It depends. Sometimes they have places, sometimes they don't. So apply before February. Spain, you can usually April, but if they have places, it might be later. If they don't have places, it might be earlier. So it's just first come, first serve basis. Turkey usually finishes around March for the top universities like, Acıbadem, Koç, like the top university groups, top hospital groups. Their applications usually close around March. because it's crazy in Asia. I mean, you wouldn't believe the applicants from Asia to Turkey, like from countries like India, I don't know, like, Qatar, these kind of countries, like, fill up all the quotas until usually February, March, and then you have low-level universities after April. So, or no scholarships left, which would be another problematic case for you. So if you want to get a scholarship in Turkey, if you want to get a good university, apply before March. And it's cheaper to apply to Turkish universities, so just do it. I have a bonus option for today's webinar that I didn't talk about during the Instagram live. Basically, I forgot, I guess. We also have Ireland as an option. So Ireland is pretty much very similar to the UK system, where they have usually GCE A-level requirements. So if you are studying, or your student is studying at one of the British high schools like GCE A-level system, your student must have at least 2 A stars and 1 A, which means that your performance, the time grade 12 performance, must be also very, very high, like around 90% or higher. But if you don't have these credentials, there's also foundation programs available, because it's not only about your grades, guys. Like, you also have to pass either HPAT or BMAT exam, which are not easy. The reason I tell you this is it's not easy. I mean, I'm not a science-based. I wasn't a science-based student, but I've been doing this like for 8-9 years as an admission professional for these universities, and only like 10% of my students have passed these HPAT and BMAT exams before foundation. So ideally, you should consider foundation programs. There are really, really successful universities in Ireland for training a doctor, like University College Dublin, Galway, Limerick. These are top ranked universities, like in the world, in between 150 to 150 ranking in the world. And there's the IFC Foundation Center, who prepares the student for all these universities at once, while preparing you, if you want, to the other European universities as well. So they have a really good training center that you can actually like make your program tailor-made. You can say, like, I want to prepare to University College Dublin, but as a second plan, I want to start preparing for Charles University as well, or the Italian systems as well. So they can train you for multiple examinations, and they can create you a schedule according to that. So it's a pretty successful training center that I've been working. The owner of a very, very successful teacher, the IFC, has been teaching in universities for more than 30 years. He's a really, really, successful professor. And it's a really good training center for students who would like to start considering Ireland or UK, like Ireland and British universities in general, if you want to study medicine in
But
these countries.
sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
For how long does the foundation program go? Is it for 1 year?
Usually the foundation programs take 1 year for students who have the necessary level of English, which is like 6.5 to 7.0 IELTS. But if you also have a lower level of English, like 4 to 5 IELTS, then you have to train for 2 years, because the first year will be more academic English, and then the second year will be more scientific foundation. So it's up to your English level. It can be 1 year or it can be 2 years.
Okay, great. Thank you. And also, I
You're
have
welcome.
another question. Maybe, well, I believe you're done because you already put the questions slide. The intakes for starting the medical school, it's only once a year, right?
Yeah, the intakes are usually once a year. Our pre-medical options in some countries, like Hungary, for instance, they have some intensive foundations starting from January winter intake. But usually it is like September intake is the best intake to consider medical courses.
Okay. And I was going to ask you another question. Are there any study abroad opportunities or exchange
Yes,
for
of
students
course.
that are currently
Of
studying
course.
medicine?
Of course. For instance, if you go to one of the universities in Turkey that I mentioned, you can go to even Canada, US, some agreed universities in Europe as an exchange student for 1-2 years. And the same applies for the other universities like Charles, Semmelweis, Szeged. They can transfer you to countries like Belgium, etc., especially for the clinical rotation. Because before the clinical rotation, like you're educated in English. So it's not possible for you to, switch languages, right? You have to be at an English teaching medical school. But after fourth year, usually students go to places. I have seen lots of students going to Turkey from Europe, from Turkey to Europe. Lots of students are coming to Canada every year. As I told you, like University of Ottawa has an agreement with Charles. So they can come to Canada for 1 or 2 years for their rotations. So it's possible as long as you're a successful student who is able to come to the fourth year, because like coming to the fourth year is not easy. Why? There's an anatomy course that you have to pass. You can tell your students that the main part where you exceed the limit of becoming a doctor is passing the anatomy course. If you're able to pass the anatomy course, because it shows your judgment level, your judgment skills towards a professor that is most of the time is very, very challenging, then you're able to proceed to the other years. So it's like the crucial years are between 2 to 4. So if you pass these, after that you can do whatever you want. Basically, everybody wants to give you a job after fourth year because you passed a certain general medical stream, and then you're doing your clinical rotation now.
Okay, but for example, for the exchange program that you mentioned, is for students that are doing the whole medical degree in the universities over there,
it's not
right?
something I said. Yeah, I told this before. I don't know, maybe to Paulina, I don't remember. But yeah, exchange is not something that we can help to students. Exchange is something the student needs to talk with their university representatives, university Erasmus exchange departments. And it's an inter-university agreement where our touch is not necessary or helpful for students. We do freshman placements, but we don't do exchanges.
So if there are students here in Mexico or in Colombia studying medicine, they don't have really the chance to go and do a study about their exchange program in Europe.
They have the chance.
They?
They have a chance, but not through us. Like this is not something we can help. They have to speak with their university exchange Erasmus departments to see what are the conditions, what kind of agreements these universities have. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure if anyone here has a question for Berg. I believe that the beauty of this bringing this information to other people is because as you said, they usually look for places like US or Canada to go study, and they don't know that there are other options, other opportunities that are very high quality education, very affordable, and they don't even know that exists. So I really appreciate that you brought us this information, because it's I think it's really helpful for all our candidates to know this. Usually they don't look at those countries, or they don't consider them as an option to go study there. But after listening to all the opportunities, the prices, the lifestyle, the conditions, and all the opportunities that they have, I believe they're great opportunities. Gonzalo,
Exactly.
do you have a question, or you want to add something?
No, hi, Berk. Hi, Alejandra. No, I actually wanted to say exactly the same. I mean, medicine is one of those subjects where there's a lot of students interested, and it's always complicated in the major international destinations like the US, Australia, Canada. So it's great to have other opportunities which are really good quality in Europe, most of them, or Turkey, which is, Istanbul is in Europe. So it's thank you very much. It's really enlightening, and I think it offers good opportunities for students from Latin America.
Yeah, definitely. We will be talking case by case, hopefully, when we have candidates, and the more successful candidates we have in the future, they will also refer to each other. I know that in general, in Latin America, as you mentioned, people are generally don't know people. People generally don't know about much about the European options they have. To study in English, where to study medicine, what kind of exams they will take. So if we take one or two cases and take them to a certain level, I think they will refer to each other, and there will be some kind of vibe and wave will start in your regions, and I'm happy to contribute to that, and let me know if you have any sort of candidates. We can definitely discuss case by case, and I will definitely help you.
Great, thank you
Thank
so
you very
much.
much.
And for
Thank you.
anyone that's listening, thank you very much. Let me remind you that we are the Gate Education, and today we had Berk Algeni with us as a guest to talk about medicine programs. So if you need any help, if you're interested in applying for a medical program, please contact us, and we're here to help you with all the process and to give you all the information that you might need. So Berk, thank you so much for your time tonight
Thank you
already.
so much, guys. Take care,
And
please.
thank you
Have a
everyone
nice evening.
that came
Thank you.
today. Thank you so much. Have a nice night.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.